We're going to be finishing off today's show with several updates on high-profile shooting cases, and specifically the charges connected to the shooter's parents. Let's start off in Newport News, Virginia. The mother of a 6-year-old boy is being held responsible after her son shot his teacher during class in January. The boy, who has an acute learning disability, apparently got the gun from their family home. He brought it to Rich Neck Elementary School in his backpack, and several school administrators say they unsuccessfully brought it to the attention of supervisors. Now, the first grader shot teacher Abigail Zwerner in the hand and chest in an attack that authorities say was not an accident. Zwerner is recovering but hasn't returned to work. The boy's mother, Deja Taylor, is charged with felony child neglect and misdemeanor recklessness for leaving a loaded firearm where a child could access it. Now we go to Illinois. The father of Robert Crimo III is being charged alongside his son after a 4th of July mass shooting last summer. 7 people died when Crimo III opened fire on an Independence Day parade in Highland Park. Authorities later caught the 21-year-old shooter after an 8-hour manhunt. He's charged with 21 counts of first-degree murder, 48 counts of attempted murder, and 48 counts of aggravated battery. The shooter's father, Robert Crimo Jr., appeared in court last week for a case management hearing. He is pleading not guilty to 7 counts of reckless conduct after prosecutors say Crimo Jr. helped his son get a gun license 3 years before the shooting, despite his son previously making violent threats. Each count against Crimo Jr. carries a maximum 3-year prison sentence. And last but not least, we're heading to Oxford, Michigan, where the parents of confessed high school shooter Ethan Crumbley will be headed to trial with their own set of charges. Now, you might recall that in November of 2021, 4 students died and 6 other people were injured when Crumbley, who was just 15 years old at the time, opened fire inside Oxford High School. Last October, Crumbley pleaded guilty to a 24-count indictment that included first-degree murder and terrorism charges. His parents, though, have pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter charges. Prosecutors accused them of neglecting to address their son's mental health issues and instead buying him a gun. That gun was eventually used in the mass shooting. A judge ruled last week that Crumbley's parents will not be allowed to attend their son's latest hearing. That hearing, set for May 1st, will determine if Crumbley will be eligible for parole or will have to spend the rest of his life in prison. Let's break this down. Terry, were the charges against Deja Taylor in Virginia sufficient, or maybe there should have been more serious charges? What do you think?
Well, I think these were pretty serious charges. That felony charge, it does carry a 5-year sentence if in fact she is convicted of that. It's really reckless what she did. And the misdemeanor charge for having that loaded gun and endangering the child, that's another year. So the neglect and the gun charge, those can add up to some pretty significant charges there and some significant time. But also, the authorities did say they're continuing to investigate this. So there could be additional charges. And if they find that the mother knew what was happening, or she should have suspected it because he might have some issues that she's seen in the past, they could up those charges maybe to even involuntary manslaughter.
See, Brian, I think the Crumbley case started everything, and I'm wondering if it's encouraging other prosecutors across the nation to go forward with charges against parents.
Absolutely, Jesse. Prosecutors have the discretion to bring charges or not bring charges. And I think a lot of the time when you look at cases like cases against police officers, cases against powerful men who sexually assault women who then report years later, now we're getting into a new genre of cases, that being parents held liable for their children's actions in gun cases. I think prosecutors are seeing that the country is more open and welcome to these charges, and that there's a greater likelihood of a conviction if they do bring these charges. I think the Crumbley case is having an effect on the rest of the country.
And we know what the goal is, right? The goal is to prevent these shootings. So we'll see if maybe it'll have some effect. Brian, Terry, thank you both so much. Everyone out there, thanks for joining us here on The Daily. All right, welcome back, everybody. So right now we are bringing you an exclusive Law and Crime interview with a former Disney star heading to trial after some pretty serious allegations. I want to bring in my co-host Brian Buckmeyer. Brian, you had a chance to sit down with the defendant, Kyle Massey. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Jesse, Kyle Massey, the former That's So Raven Disney star, is being charged with immoral communication with a minor. At first glance, it seems like a simple case. The question being, did Kyle Massey send a minor sexual materials over the phone or internet? But after sitting with Massey and his attorney, this case seems anything but simple. The facts is they're alleging is that you knew this young girl from the age of 4, and you knew the family, and that there was some sort of communications that the relationship with you, I've seen them describe you as a father figure almost to this girl. And I love the reaction because I want to get into that as well. And you were supposed to marshal her through the industry, so to speak. I've even heard allegations that you supposedly said that she can come and live with you from Seattle to LA with you and your girlfriend, and you would help her in this endeavor of trying to become famous. And that, what, a month or 2 after that invitation, that's when you were on her Snapchat, you sent allegedly some photos of someone that looks like you, who might have been nude, and sexual photos. Those are the allegations from my understanding. Yeah. I'm gonna try to give it to you first. What is your response to those allegations?
My response to those allegations are that, first off, we would need to go back. Let's go back to the mother of this kid, right? You stated in your paperwork that I've known this kid since she was 4 years old, right? Yeah. Well, the truth about my relationship with that mother is that mother had an inappropriate sexual relationship with me since I was a kid, when I was 15.
So let me expound upon what Mr. Massey is saying. So there is some discrepancy on when the date that they actually met. The mother in this case is saying that they met in 2009. Mr. Massey alleges they met in 2007. So based on Mr. Massey's birthday, which anybody can Google, that's a 15, 16-year-old versus a 17, 18-year-old. So, and then that's where she advances this whole thing about her daughter, he's known her since she was 4. Now, if you look at the police report where she gave her statement to the police, she said Mr. Massey met her at Universal Studios, California, Studio City, California, and that she was with her children, other adults in a group, and that Mr. Massey approached her from the group and was trying to get her phone number. Now, if that's the case, then how would Mr. Massey have known any of the children present belong to her or belong to anyone else? He's just seeing you in a group of individuals, and that's just using what she has said. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case, but this is her version of events that she gave to police. So she's attempting to use that, if you will, to try to set out that he's known the child as if he met the child directly. He never met the child directly. There was no interaction with the child.
Is the video something that was meant to be sent to like another adult?
Yes, the video
and then it was like,
right.
This could be something that is wrong if it's sent to a child, but I did it accidentally.
Correct. And the issue is that there's no feed or conversation leading up to this. There's no, oh, let me send you something. Oh, why don't you? There was no segue.
No flirting,
no flirting, all the communication is straight-laced. When she's saying, oh my God, blah, 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 how you doing? It's, oh, I'm good. You know, how was your day? Oh, I'm fine. There's no communication where Mr. Massey is soliciting photos from her or she's soliciting photos.
Now I can sit here and I can like look at you and say it without breaking down. But you gotta understand, this was like one of the hardest moments in my life, because the person that molested, raped, took advantage of me when I was a child is now painting me as the predator.
Yeah, so we'll continue to follow Kyle Massey's case out of Kings County, Washington State, as he awaits his trial, which is scheduled now for July.